Hey everybody, welcome to Storytime with Shaina. I'm going to be reading to you Night Lights, a Sukkot story, so just stay tuned. Let's get started. Can't we just put a real roof on it? Just this once? Daniel pleaded as his dad and mom nailed the boards together for the sukkah, the little hut the family put up each year for the holiday of Sukkot. No roof, said Dad, just branches. A sukkah isn't a house. And we're supposed to see the sky through the roof, Daniel's big sister Naomi chimed in. She was in religious school and liked to show off. That way we remember our ancestors who left Egypt thousands of years ago. That's right, said Mom. They had to sleep in huts like this one when they stopped at night in the desert. They must have been very brave, said Daniel. Don't worry, said Naomi, as she tied apples to the branches with strings so they dangled in the air. It'll be fun to sleep in the sukkah tonight, and we'll be all by ourselves this year, since Grandpa has a cold. I loved sleeping in the sukkah when I was a little girl, added Mom. Daniel wasn't so sure. He thought of the holes in the roof and the scary noises at night, like the ones they'd heard last year. Could a bear climb up there, or a wolf? He shivered as he piled fat squash, yellow and orange and green squash, lumpy and crooked squash on the table. We're done, said Dad. You're such good helpers. Daniel and Naomi stood looking at the little sukkah after Dad and Mom went inside to make dinner. It's so colorful, said Naomi. The decorations are even better than last year's. Daniel didn't say a word. Naomi, don't tell me you're too scared to sleep in it, Naomi said. I slept in it last year, didn't I? Naomi snickered. Yes, with Grandpa singing you to sleep. I'm not afraid of the dark anymore, Daniel said. Not since Mama bought me a nightlight. You can't have your nightlight in a sukkah, Naomi said. There's no plug. Do you think our ancestors had nightlights when they lived in their sukkot? Thousands of years ago? You must be kidding. All they had was the desert sand and rocks and whatever they brought from Egypt. Besides, you'll be scared at the first noise. She made a growly face at Daniel. I will not, said Daniel. Time for supper, Dad called from the house. Come and help carry all this food outside. Everyone ate in the sukkah that evening. The neighbors came too. They had to wear sweaters and their chairs bumped against each other, but the air was crisp and cool, and the food tasted extra good. The sound of their talk and laughter bounced all around them, off the walls and up the branches into the night sky. Maybe it won't be so bad sleeping in the sukkah, Daniel thought. After dinner, Daniel helped bring the dishes back into the house. Soon the sukkah was empty again, of people and foods, sounds and light. Naomi and Daniel carried their blankets and pillows outside and put them in the corner of the sukkah. Daniel had his teddy bear too. Are you sure you want to sleep out here? He whispered. Teddy didn't answer. Daniel settled down next to Naomi, twisting and turning in his blanket bed on the ground. I can't go to sleep with all your squirming, complained Naomi. Daniel closed his eyes and tried to lie still. It wasn't quiet for long. Woo! The wind started up. It blew through the branches and shook the walls. It's just the wind, whispered Naomi. Why are you whispering? Asked Daniel. Are you scared too? Of course not, she said, but her voice squeaked a little. Woof, woof. Daniel sat straight up. Is that a wolf? He whispered. Naomi sat up too. They listened together. It's just a dog, she finally said. I think. She buried herself in the blankets, pulling them tightly around her. Daniel lay next to her, but he didn't close his eyes. It's spooky out here, he said. Naomi didn't answer. Daniel lay awake, his eyes searching every corner of the hut. He began to see faces where the squash were supposed to be. Mean, lumpy, grinning faces. He stood up, clutching his bear. It was too hard being an ancestor. Just then, Naomi put out her hand and tugged at Daniel. Don't go, please, she said softly. Keep me company. And too scared, he said, Aren't you? A little, Naomi admitted. She was quiet, staring at the sky through the branches. You know, Daniel, maybe our ancestors did have nightlights in the desert. But you said there were no plugs. I know, but, she held up Daniel's covers. Slide in here and look up. Daniel snuggled inside his blanket and looked up. Through the branches, he saw bright stars and a gigantic moon. Night lights, answered Daniel. Lots of them. And the moon, too. He smiled at all the sparkling lights. He'd never noticed how many there were. The sky was full of them. Our ancestors had the first night lights, said Naomi. Daniel felt warm and cozy now next to Naomi. Maybe our ancestors were brave and a little scared too, like me, he thought. So, like the ancestors in the desert, Daniel and Naomi watched the night lights above them, and soon they fell asleep. The end. So, I hope everybody enjoyed this story. Stay tuned. If you didn't watch the other videos, I have 2 other ones, then you should definitely go watch them. But if you did already, then I hope you have a good last days of Sukkot. Bye!